Contrary to what is often depicted in movies and advertisements, boxing is much more than a test of toughness and will. It is a science, a thinking man's sport, the art of hitting and not getting hit. And while the focus is often on the hitting, many forget the don't get hit part.
So respect the game. The game is hit and don't get hit. And don't let nobody tell you any different.
Today, we want to dive deeper into the defensive techniques that keep a boxer safe while they are fighting.
Like that, that's anticipation right there.
To be more specific, we will be taking a look at anticipatory defensive techniques and strategies. But before we start the breakdown, we wanted to introduce you to our sponsor, Boxing Training for Fighters, a powerful new app created for coaches and fight teams. This all-in-one platform will help your fighters develop with structure and improve faster. Download today and dominate the opposition. Type in Skillr for an exclusive discount. Simply put, anticipatory defense is a method in which you are already putting yourself in a position to prevent or defend an attack before it has even taken place. Some defensive moves we see in boxing are due to reading punches and good reactions, but a lot of the punches that are defended in a boxing match are due to anticipation techniques that are often trained in the gym or strategies used in a fight. So let's look at the different ways a boxer can use anticipatory defense. Examples: hands up while punching. Now, this is one of the first things you learn when starting boxing, but is often forgotten, and it is a fundamental that should be taken into account.
What are you showing him, Ricky?
That when he's throwing his right hand, he's keeping it down, so he's got to keep it right up. So follow up, boom. Come back, keep your hands up.
At first, constantly keeping one of your hands up to cover your face as you are throwing combinations can feel pretty unnatural, and in some cases can slow you down. However, when it comes to single punches, you want to make it as habitual as possible to keep your free hand up. If both you and your opponent throw at the same time, then having the other hand covering can minimize the damage. If your punch misses and your opponent tries to counter, then you are also safe defensively.
He pulls back with the hand.
A recent example of how important this fundamental is was the Devin Haney-Ryan Garcia fight, where every time Devin jabbed, his rear hand went down, not covering the right side of his face, which is where Garcia's left hook landed.
Get over, more regressive. More regressive than we've seen.
Moving to the opponent's weak side. Another example of anticipating an attack is moving to the opponent's weak side, which would be the lead hand side. That way, you stay away as much as possible from its rear hand, which is extremely useful in case the opponent has a really powerful one.
That's a lovely shot.
Depending on which side that is, there is different ways and moves one can use. If the opponent is on the opposite stance, you would move to your lead hand side, which would also be the opponent's lead hand side. In this case, as we have reviewed in some breakdowns already, the key is to use your lead foot to constantly step to the outside of your opponent's lead foot. This puts you in a position to pivot and completely angle out and away from the opponent's power hand. And if they throw it, they will often find themselves overreaching and missing the target. That way, you anticipate the attack. If the opponent is on the same stance, you will often see boxers use the L step. The L step is this subtle shuffle step to your rear hand side, which, if boxing the same stance, is the lead hand side of the opponent. Just like the previous example, this allows you to constantly be stepping away from the rear hand or power hand of the opponent. Since their power hand is not in center alignment with your head, then it is much harder to land the punch. Rolling after the rear hand. Another technique you will often see defensive boxers use to prevent counterattacks. Whenever you commit to a powerful punch with the rear hand, especially if it misses the target, you find yourself in a really open and vulnerable position.
Looking for the right.
A great way to remain defensively responsible is to roll after the punch, getting your head out of the way.
Looking for the right.
The right hand to the stomach is the right hand to the head.
This is with that left, but again, fights. Again.
You will see boxers use it, even after landing it. And even if the opponent doesn't answer back with anything. It's a defensive habit that keeps you safe and prevents any possible counterattack.
Anytime Devin Haney lands something, he minds his defense. He checks his defense. He punches and dips. He's ducking before he even comes. He's 2 or 3 steps ahead of what Linares is thinking. Like that. That's anticipation right there.
Head off the center line for straight punches. Now, the effectiveness of this example will depend on a lot of factors, one being the stance you are fighting, orthodox or southpaw, but it is a great example for many situations. The center line refers to the imaginary line that runs down the middle of a boxer's body. It is the line of punch traffic and where you are most exposed to getting hit. That is why utilizing head movement to stay off that center line is key. In this example, that offense is your jab or straight.
Boom, almost like the overhand. Boom, your hands out here, your hands up.
As you throw it, you want to make sure to take your head off the center. The biggest reason for this is that if both of you throw a jab or straight at the same time, then it is the person who gets their head off the center that won't get hit.
Boom. You gotta be over here.
Right here.
So he won't hit you back.
Constant head movement. This example mixes reactive patterns and sequences, but the concept itself is based on anticipation. A way you can derail an opponent from getting any offensive momentum against you is to simply have your head constantly moving, even if the opponent has yet to attack.
You ever not moving? It was just always constant.
No, you have to constantly move. Because you're putting pressure on the guy. If you just walk in, he's gonna hit you.
Just like in our previous example, if your head is constantly moving, then it is not in the center, making it much harder to land a clean hit.
Has really established his own jab. He's landing it on the counter.
A bigger difference in experience than some might think between these.
When the opponent sees this constant head movement, then they become gun shy and second guess themselves from throwing, since the target they are aiming for is in motion and therefore difficult to land on. Stepping back after a combo. However, the previous example still carries the inherent risk of getting caught while moving your head, as it is still in range. With the step back, you are able to get out of range, completely nullifying the opponent's offense.
If you get good feet, you don't even have to have great feet. You just got to be able to know how to use it and when to use it. If a guy charges me and I take 2 steps backwards, that punch just fell short.
Similar to rolling after the rear hand, this form of anticipatory defense is used right after an attack, and the great example is Dmitry Bivol. Simply stepping out right after a combination renders all attacks from the opponent, as he is not in range anymore to land.
Final 40 seconds of round 3. Let's go to corner 7.
Usually, they adopt a more defensive position as they are trying to defend the combination, which makes it even more difficult to counter after Bivol steps back.
Hand there in the final seconds that looks to punctuate.
As mentioned, anticipating the attack rather than waiting for it.
On his ledger, one of them.
But now, we would love to know your opinion on the comments. What are your examples of anticipatory defense? Let us know, and if you like this video, you can find more on our channel. And to your left, we have chosen a video that we thought you may like.